So this week's chapter was chapter 12. It went over um, the structure of social institutions. The main social institutions are family, school, religion, your job, and what you do for recreation, and then stuff like the government and economy. Um, so um, the first mm, actually no, I family and schools are like more tailored towards socialization. It's really important, especially in your formative years, um, just because you really get a sense of like how you see the world between your family and school. Um, Family and school teaches you like just manages to get you into adulthood and teaches you a lot of the societal norms, your own personal values, and your role that you fit in the world. So obviously you're gonna have your mom, your dad, and then your siblings, and then whoever else is in your immediate family. Um, it's gonna help you respond to authority. It's gonna help you learn manners. It's gonna help you learn to communicate um, outside of like a school setting, uh, and um, obviously gonna teach you respect, and it's gonna come a lot from how you interact with your family, stuff like family dinners, uh, like your chores, and stuff like that. And there's schools which um, teach discipline. Um, they give you an opportunity to interact with your peers, and they give you the responsibility of schoolwork early on in your young life, so that you're more um, better equipped when you go into the job market, as those are pretty much the main things, being discipline, cooperation, responsibility. So, and uh, these two are basically how each generation is reproduced, basically, and that's why there's some um, there's differences between generations, because obviously stuff is going to change, but these are basically what society uses to push like fully formed and like functioning people out. Is um, obviously a lot of people are going to be put into families, and a lot of people are going to be put into schools, and that's going to be the case for like 18 plus years, um, 18-ish years, I guess I should say. And that's just really gonna like reproduce and imprint a lot of morals onto that generation, depending on what your family is like, what the family norms are like, and how school is like at the time. Um, that can come from a lot of things, like uh, the nuclear family. I know I talked about it in the chapter. That's kind of going away. It's only about like a fourth or like a fifth of Americans, if I think I remember that correctly. Um, this is causing a lot of differences in like family structures as compared to previous generations. There's a lot more single family homes. There's like blended homes, and there's just like other just more non-traditional ways to raise your children. Um, that's one of the reasons why the book talked about um, just childhood being way more complex than it was a few years ago. Which, I mean, I obviously have to agree. Um, I think that not only the advent of just like technology has changed so much, but just the news and the different variety of ideas that we are exposed to nowadays really change a lot of the values that people are going to have. Um, I mean, back in the day, you would obviously be exposed to a lot of things, but you can make a lot of generalizations of the previous generations, and I mean, you could probably explain most of them, not most of them, but a good amount of them to like basically a T. Um, but I mean, nowadays you have to look at like a lot of different factors into what goes into a home and what goes into a school. Um, there's like funding issues. There's different ways to raise your child. There's a lot of differences and separation nowadays in marriages and families. Like there's a lot more like um, there's a bigger hookup culture, I think, nowadays, which causes a lot of involuntary pregnancies, and so that really messes up a lot of people, especially um, our young generation. I'm not sure, but I would not be surprised if teen pregnancies have gone up a lot recently. Um, but I mean, that's just me. That's just me making an inference. I'm not 100% sure. And the book talked about how a lot of like this change comes from technology. Obviously, like phones, computers, internet, that that changed a lot of the way that we're able to process information. Obviously, your education's gonna change. You're gonna have new ways to complete assignments. You're gonna have new media to look into assignments. You're gonna have like a whole difference in um, like education system nowadays because people have to be taught skills like typing, emailing, faxing, maybe not faxing, but um, how to use sheets, docs, a lot of just general applications that are used a lot in day-to-day life, like just in the workplace and stuff. Um, and then uh, it talks about how like this can be this can be effective, but it can also be detrimental because obviously nowadays like we have the leisure of having phones and computers and all that I said, um, but I mean you can do a lot with those and you can save a lot of time with them, but they also put you in like a feedback loop to where you want to like you just want to watch something, you want to do something, you just want to do anything but just sit there or find something else to do. You instantly pull out your phone or your computer. And, you know, I really think that, especially now since phones and everything have been so normalized, I feel like these next generations are definitely going to have like a difference in their brain structure just because of all the information and all the media and things that they're gonna have to process throughout their life because of this, and they're gonna lose skills that were previously um, like taught in previous generations due to having the leisureness of having a phone. Um, I'm not sure when or if that'll happen, but that's just my idea. Um, is that a bad thing? Is that a good thing? Um, I think it's both good and bad. Um, Technology and the internet can radicalize and put a lot of people into different sectors of arguments and political states and just opinions and stuff like that, which is why I feel like the class discussion was kind of a little heated. Um, I generally don't think that stuff like that is too much of an issue if done right, but I have seen the good and the bad of like the LGBTQ sort of things that we were talking about in class. There's a lot of good and bad to informing children about that stuff. You can argue that a lot of people are trying to indoctrinate children into something like that, but there's a big difference between indoctrination and education. Um, um, I just think that either side is shown the worst of each, and that just pushes you further and further onto opposite sides of the spectrum, which doesn't help that we have a large party system in America right now, which is kind of made to divide people in their opinions. Um, a lot of times now, people can't really find agreements as easily. It's either my way or the highway. Um, I think I have a pretty diverse set of opinions. I don't think I'm one side or the other, but um, I just think stuff like that is just something that's gonna be part of society now, which I think is a pretty good thing. I think it's pretty cool that we don't have to shame and hate on people just for the way that they were born. Um, I don't necessarily like agree or like like obviously like some of the things that they do, but you know, that was just one of the things that they talk about in the thing where these social institutions are just going to teach you structure and like respect. It's going to teach you how to act and how to treat other people around you, and some people are going to be taught to value and learn about different things, so they're not going to be as inclined to interact with stuff like that, and they're going to make brash and harsh opinions made on them, which will then further the gap between respective groups. But I think especially today, I feel like a lot of social institutions are kind of being broken down. I feel like I've heard a lot from like paras, like some friends that are paras, that a lot of kids are starting to like learn a lot less skills just because they have access to the internet and chat GPT and stuff like that. They're not really learning the soft skills that they need for to progress like later on in life. But I also think at the same time there's also a lot more pressures on children, or at least teenagers nowadays. Um, I feel like the gap from being stuck in like middle class to being successful is being stepped up a notch a lot recently. Um, a lot of children like are expected to have more of them if they want to succeed, especially in college and in the workforce. If you want to do really good academically, you kind of have to start from your freshman year now, and to like have like a really good set in stone future, um, which is something I wish I would have known earlier. But you know what? It's whatever. But um, religion is being a lot more diversified. There's a lot more people switching to different religions. Um, just in the Hispanic community, I know a majority of them are Catholic, like I am. But now there's even sectors of them that are becoming like Muslim and Hindu and stuff like that in other places, which I think is pretty cool. I think that's a pretty cool thing to do that's available nowadays. I think the understanding and learning of other religions is pretty important into understanding just how other societies and opinions form their opinion on crucial aspects. Um, and I also think that work and recreation will change a lot. I'm not sure what jobs will be replaced by AI, um, but I feel like that's going to be a shift soon. Um, I feel like there's going to be a lot more remote positions than previously there was, which there already is, and way more remote positions nowadays than there ever was in history, other than like COVID, but that doesn't really count. um, and it's just gonna be weird to see what the job market is like, what kind of skills are valued. Um, I feel like a lot more technology and internet based um, skills are gonna be prioritized, but um, I mean, you never know. A lot of skills aren't gonna go away. Like hopefully, my major of manufactured technologies doesn't go away too soon, um, or I'm at least able to get established in that. But you know, that's we're gonna have to see how these um, shifts occur, which I think we're gonna have a lot more societal shifts nowadays as well due to having more access to the internet and stuff. Um, I just feel like that's gonna accelerate just how fast society moves from one topic to the next, as you can see in our media and like our news cycle and stuff like that. But yeah, that was just my review on chapter 12.